I guess just starting off, how do you feel like you guys as a team played today?
Obviously, as a team, we didn't play well enough to win the football game. I thought we had some outstanding efforts. A lot of times after you've struggled a little bit like we have down the stretch, you want to make sure guys come out and strain and play hard. I thought we did that. We had some opportunities to win this football game. There's no doubt about that. And I thought we played extremely well on defense, except for a couple big plays. Thought we ran the ball extremely well today. Unfortunately, turned the ball over too much. We're moving in a good situation. We're going to kick a field goal, we make it, and we have a penalty, and we miss it. And just too many things that when you're playing a ranked football team, you can't have those type of things happen and hope to win the football game, because then you're getting into hoping.
With Jalen, the first interception, did you talk to him about that? And when he came back to the sideline, what was kind of your sense of where his headspace was?
Yeah, it's obvious today that Jalen was, I'll just say this holistically, it wasn't Jalen Daniels' best game, which is very unfortunate. His last game as a Jayhawk. I don't think he ever felt fully in rhythm. I think there were times where, he had a look about him that he wasn't, he knew he wasn't in great rhythm, and there are some things that I just think there were times where in the RPO game and that, he decided to throw and do some things, and he obviously didn't see people sometimes, and then he's trying to scramble and just get rid of it. You got to make sure that it's cleared out of bounds.
When you reflect on this year and this team, how will you remember this group?
I think how I remember this group is, first of all, it's been a really fun group to coach. It's a good group of guys. And in this portal era now, as we've talked many times, when you integrate as many older players as what happens and what we did, to me, you're worried about how it's going to flow and how is everybody going to get on the same page sooner as far as expectations of the program and how we do things and why we do things. And I've told this group it's gone a lot better than I ever imagined in that regard. Now on the field, obviously we came up short in some games that were winnable, and obviously we're going to continue to look at that. I have to do a better job. I've fallen short of expectations as the head coach, and I have to be better. This group, though, as I said today, the way they went about it and went through it on a shorter week, and that I'm extremely proud. And that's what I'll remember about this group is very unselfish. We had very little issues about playing time and roles, and they accepted that and how we went about that. So there's a lot of positive in this, even though it hasn't been exactly what we want.
You mentioned expectations. Just you had gone to back-to-back bowl games, and now it's 2 straight years for 5 and 7. How difficult is it to look at that?
How do I look at it? With mixed emotions, mixed in the fact that of where we've come as a program, that in a very short period of time has now become the expectation, and how we have to continue to look at every aspect of our program in this era of roster building and things like that, and how we're going to continue to do that and to give ourselves the best opportunities possible. But as far as 2, 5, and 7 years comparing probably about expectations, we've underachieved, I guess, by most people's standards.
And then after the Iowa State game, you talked about evaluating how you're coaching, how the personnel on the field. How long after the season ends do you start taking a hard look at things, or do you get yourself some?
Well, again, now that our season is over, we'll continue to take that. Try and get to most of that next week and get moving. As far as we're in a dead period recruiting, we have some things, obviously signing days coming up, but obviously we can start taking a deep dive into that as quickly as we can, and look at all things.
Lance, back to the expectations real quick. Earlier this week, Daniel Highshaw had a comment about basically, I'm not even mad that people are mad, talking about the fans, because he said, that's what we want. We want people to expect us to hit this level and to be upset when we don't. I just wonder what your reaction to your players viewing it that way. Is that something you like to hear?
Absolutely. I want our players to be confident enough that we should be able to be a team that will play in bowl games. That's what we want them to be. That's what we want them to aspire to be. And that's what we have to keep working to obtain. And that as we continue to do it, coaching, weight room, everything that we're doing, we have to make sure that it's an all the time thing. Okay, and if we're going to continue to move our program, it has to be 24/7, 365 in what we do. And again, as we know, with the parity that is happening in college football, the margin for error for teams like us continue to be very small. For us, we're hovering on a chance. What would our topics be today if one of the probably three closest games that we played would have gone the other direction? Some of the things that we're all frustrated about, that you have to ask about, are being asked because it's this close. And again, when you start seeing things, it's the new world of college football where it's going to be more bunched up, I think, is what you're going to see. And for us to continue to try to put ourselves in that above line, we got to continue to work and get better, and it starts at the top.
I wonder too, this week's, you got Thanksgiving in there and you got the short week and all that. You talked about being proud of how hard you guys played and strained and the effort and all that. Was there a point this week where you knew that was the kind of effort you were going to get today?
I didn't know they said the right things, I guess, and there's times where, that hasn't always been the case in the last game of the year and things, and you see that sometimes across the country, and the one just mean it's a here thing, but our guys said it. Our guys felt, talking to our leadership group and things, we really modified how we practice to try to get the bodies back at this stage, and I thought we responded to that really well. And last night at the hotel, I kind of challenged them a little bit about, again, if in the last regular season game, if someone's going to put on the film, no matter how clean something is or how well we play in execution and other things like that, I think as a man, you have to sit there and say you can't let anybody question your effort level and how you go about it. I think for any of us in life, does anybody question your work ethic? If they question your work ethic or your effort level, I think that's a serious issue for life. And as we had those 33 seniors for it, hopefully it wasn't going to be our last game, but if it was going to be our last game here, and I said, if you turn the film on next week, or if you turn it on 20 years from now when you're going to show your kids or your grandkids or whatever it's going to be later in life, hopefully they're going to say that you played the game hard. And we talked a lot about that, and I think they really understood that, and I think they went about it that way.
Yeah, Lance, I'm curious with the change of the portal. You got almost over a month now. How do you guys handle that? And then what are your thoughts on just doing one portal in January?
Well, we'll see about the one portal, I guess. We'll see as we keep evolving. I think everything, really from our arrival time here 4.5 years ago continues to change every 6 months, really, of something, that we've gone about, from transfer portal to NIL to rev share and all those different things that happen. I think as coaches, we wanted to try to get to stability as fast as we could in rosters and things like that. I'm sure there's going to be some things that'll be real positive, and I think there'll be some that'll be challenging to us, because it's a one-time shot now to improve your roster for for the long haul. So the interesting thing is, of course, the portal doesn't open until January, but obviously there'll be ways that I'm sure guys are going to declare themselves as in the portal when seasons are over, and then when's all that going. Those are all the things that I think we're still wanting and needing to clean up in college football, are the parameters of you know, as we emulate the NFL, there's a lot of this that we don't emulate yet, and we know why, for the most part, of employees and all those things that would go with collective bargaining that make it a little more challenging with outside factors. But it'll, you know, we'll continue to look at, you know, we'll have a mixture of signees coming, and then there'll be also portal additions, of course, to keep us moving in the right direction.
Lance, as you acknowledged, obviously the momentum of the program has not been what we wanted the last couple of years. What do you think needs to change to kind of get back to a team that can contend for or make a bowl game?
Well, there's probably lots of reasons, you know. Again, you know, those will be things we continue to look at. I would say I have to do a better job as a head coach. I think we have to be better in, you know, closing out football games. I think that would be, you know, again, as we look and, you know, continually looking at recruiting and how we're putting the roster together and how we go about that, and to make sure that we do that fits, you know, what we're looking to do, schematically, but also give us best chance to be successful in the Big 12.
And you know, obviously you guys started 4-2 this year, and I think lost the 6 of the last 8. When you look back in the last 8 games, is there anything that kind of sticks out to you as a thing that's carried over in each game?
You know, there's been different, you know, like today, you know, I thought there was, like I've talked before, I thought, you know, just between headsets and watching and listening, like we didn't have as many communication things. I didn't, you know, we had some, say costly, but again, I'd give you big plays, missed tackles. But all in all, I thought we were better in some of those areas. So some of those things were, you know, today's a day where you get down to turnovers. I mean, when I look at other things, we were not nearly the red zone team that we need to be to play winning football consistently, and continue to look at that. You know, to be able to execute that level that we need to. Those are some of the biggest ones. Red zones, turnovers, you know, we talk about that, you can't do that. But really before today, this had, I don't know, you guys know more. When's the last time we had 3 turnovers in a game? And, you know, we've been pretty good on ball security. You know, I think you look at, you know, this might be our fewest year in fumbles. You know, we had 1 penalty, I believe, today, didn't we? 2 penalties. No, what am I looking at here?
I think 4.
I'm sorry, we had 4 today, I'm sorry. But I mean, and they had 9. So, I mean, we've been okay in clean football, but nowhere near, you're saying, you know, again, it seems like if I mention in areas, it goes to people, I don't want to single out people because it's a program issue. But, you know, our kicker did a great job for 90% plus of the season, but hit kind of a tough spell here down the stretch. And he did so well for us. He did so many things. But, you know, he battled through some leg things, and he's kind of worked through them, and he never looked for a way out, never made an excuse. He just said, I had to do better. But even our kickoffs weren't the same down the stretch. And some of those things about being able to sustain a level of winning football is what we have to continue to strive to do.
Time for more, Jordan?
Lance, do you feel a different kind of pressure going into this offseason at all? Or is it the same different kind of pressure going into this
For me?
offseason? Yeah, for you, or just this program, or is it the same kind of pressure you always put on yourself?
No, I think at the end of the day, you know, guys, there's pressure in this job every single day. You know, expectations, no matter what they're at, they're there all the time. They just are. And if you win 5 games, or you win 6 games, or you win 9 games, or you win 2 games, the pressure is always there to try to make it better. And all the losses hurt. There's not, and I said before, there's not moral victories. There's not, so some of those things about expectations aren't for me to determine. So all I know is the time and efforts, though everyone can do better, I know the time that this staff puts in. I know the efforts that we put in. I know the routines that we put in. And we'll continue to look at those to make them better. That's all I can tell you. Like I said, you go across the country, pressure, there's a lot of people coaching pressure games that are got 10 or 12 wins, or ones that got 1 win. It's across the board what college football is today. It's what coaching is today.
All right. Thanks, everyone.